morning, everyone. I'm back. Another episode of Coffee with Court has arrived, and today I am going to give you a little update on where I am with my two books I've been working on, and then I thought it would be fun to sort of go through the lessons I've learned along the way of writing these that I wish I had learned a little bit sooner. And so if you are in the midst of writing a book or ever wanted to write a book, these are my tips for you to hopefully help you move along a little bit faster. So I did just finish draft 3 of my London book, my rom-com that I've been working on since January, and I have a couple more weeks, but I am slotted to go to my editor on July 1st, and so after that, then I'll make probably the last round or two of drafts and start getting it ready to do promotions and formatting and all that. So right now I'm struggling a little bit with the title and the cover. I have a working title for it. I don't know if I 100% love it, so I've been thinking of some other ones that might work as well, and I feel like I'm probably just going to be going back and forth between those for a little bit, trying to figure out which one just fits the story a little bit better. And then I'm also looking at cover designs, because this book is different than the other ones I've done. Tear Stained Beaches was obviously women's fiction, and then we have contemporary romance for my other 3. This is a rom-com, which is a little bit more lighthearted, so a lot of the covers are just more illustrations and more comical, and I haven't really found one that I love that really depicts the story or kind of stands out in a way that says that one, pick that one. So that's kind of where I am now with that book. Simultaneously, I also started a holiday romance novel, and I have a long way to go with it. Technically, it started out as a novella. It still might be a novella, which is just like a quick short read, but it might be longer. I'm not quite sure yet, depending on how it goes. And my first lesson comes in this. So with the holiday novel, it's in first person, and I think I'm going to end up switching chapters and alternating between the main character and her love interest, because especially going through this London book, I realized how important it is to have both points of view, and I definitely want the story to be in first person. My London book is in third person, and it goes back and forth from both the main character and the love interest's perspective, which I think adds an incredible amount of value and depth into the story. So I'm not too far along in the holiday romance that it's going to be a pain to go back and try and add those chapters in to get his point of view and to really learn more about him. But that is definitely something I have discovered is of the utmost important when it comes to developing a storyline and really developing characters and building chemistry and relationships throughout the story, is to have somehow incorporate both points of view or multiple points of view so that you can really encompass everybody and really grow that storyline to its best potential. So that is going to be something I'm going to be working on next for the holiday romance novel, and we'll see how it goes. I have to tell you, the next 2 things I'm going to talk about, I can't believe it's taken me so long to understand how much I should have been doing that 4 books ago, 5 books ago, whatever you want to call it. In Tear Stained Beaches, I think because the story, it's a fictional novel, but it's based on real emotions, which is how I always say it. So it hit really close to home to me, and I sort of knew the grieving process and the moving on process and everything. So I didn't so much need an outline to the story. And when I wrote Holding On to Georgia and Behind the Strings, it was the same thing. I was just kind of like, oh, just, write and see where we end up. And I think that was why it took me so long to write Slow Dancing on Main Street, because I didn't have this path or this roadway to sort of follow and take my thoughts down. But with the London novel, I wrote an outline. Like I had this idea in my head, and I sat down and I wrote an outline from beginning to end. And the road was very windy, but I never veered off of it so far that I felt like I was off track or in this completely different story. So I think that's why I was able to write it at a much faster pace than I usually did. It took me about 5 months, and I think it really just helped to kind of connect the dots. Like I started here, and then I knew I wanted to go like here, here, and here. So I had these big scenes, and then it was just my job to input the smaller scenes that was going to lead me to the next big scene. So the lesson here, and it's not really for everyone, but I think that it's really kind of opened my eyes to how important having an outline is for a story. If I look at the first draft of Holding On to Georgia and then the published copy, they are completely different stories. And I think that that's the reason, because I had just had no idea in my head like how I wanted the story to go. And so with this book I just finished, it made a world of difference. And I did the same thing for the holiday romance. You know, I outlined bits and pieces of it, and so now it's just time to connect the dots. And I think that really helps with pacing a lot. So there's like my number one right there that I learned as writing these next two that I wish I'd done a little bit sooner. The next one is character bios. And I feel like that's just common sense. And the way that I struggled so much through 4 novels without having them, you would have thought I'd learned that sooner, but I didn't. And if you're not, familiar with what a character bio is, it's basically just, for me, it's a document. For some people, they have like a big whiteboard, and they have these like arrows and circles, and like, they connect like all their characters together. And I wish that I had a whiteboard, because I think that would be super cool, and I'm a visual person, so kind of having that all drawn out is a really neat concept. But for the holiday romance, I did my very first character bio sheet. It's just a document, and basically it just says this is their name, this is their eye color, this is their hair color, this is if they have straight or if they have curly hair, where they're from, how old they are, who their brother and their sister and their mother and their is, and how everybody connects in the story. Prior to doing that, I lived very heavily on the search in Word. So I would literally be like, eyes, and I had to go find like who I was talking about and what color eyes they had, or blonde or brunette or auburn or whatever, and I would search that into the document. And that's how I figured out, as I progressed into the story, how I remembered who had what color hair and eyes and all that stuff. And I don't know. I don't know why it took me so long, but I am doing character bios for my 6th novel, and it's so helpful to literally be like, I'm sorry, did I give her brown eyes or hazel eyes? Let me go look. And I just have to look at another document, and it's all right there. Made an absolute world of difference. So please, if you haven't done it yet, or if you're thinking of starting to write a novel, character bios, they are essential. That is what I've learned. So be sure to do those. It will save you so much time and frustration and probably inconsistencies throughout the story as well. I had the most amazing team of beta readers this time around when it came to my London novel. They were all brand new to me, to my writing, and I cannot thank them enough for the type of feedback that they provided for me. I think beta readers they are an invaluable part of this process, and I think it's really difficult to be a beta reader because you have to be very blunt, and you have to be very honest, and you have to dig deep into the story, and there's a bee. You have to dig really deep into the story, and you can't be afraid to hurt someone's feelings, right? Because it's your job to make the story better. And so I always value and appreciate the feedback that I received, and I just feel that with this novel they really went above and beyond. And I was incredibly thankful to have found somebody who was very familiar with London and could help me with the inconsistencies. And also, I had another beta reader who she was just very, very honest with me about parts of the story that she didn't feel were developed, chapters that she thought were a total waste of time, and also like paragraph by paragraph, as far as like fixing grammatical errors. Like she sent me back to like full documents of her thoughts and then errors throughout the novel, which was above and beyond what I was even expecting. So and then also, like, just as far as like the development of the love story, they all wanted more from me and from the storyline, and I think the changes that I made really reflect on that, and don't think I would have done that without their input. So if you don't use beta readers, or if you're like, I'm just gonna have my mom read it or my friends read it, I definitely suggest doing more research into what beta readers should offer you, and finding ones that are very familiar with your genre, who have done that before, because the feedback that they're going to give you is, I've said it like 5 times already, but it really is, it's invaluable, and it will make your story better, and it will help you grow as a writer. And I could not be more appreciative of all of them for this round of edits. Sometimes I feel, as an independent author, self-publishing, that I'm this tiny, tiny voice in the middle of like so many. And it's really hard to get out there and get heard. So I've spent a lot of time over the last few months trying to figure out where to spend my time as far as marketing goes and brand building and awareness. One of the things I realized is that I have not given enough credit to a newsletter. That is something I'm going to be focusing on going forward. I signed up for a lot of newsletters from self-published authors in and out of my genre, and realized I wasn't even close to doing anything that would really call for people to want to pay attention. So I stopped for a minute and I gathered a few newsletters and I read them, and I just tried to see. It was something really as simple as someone just signed up for my newsletter and all they got was like a thanks for subscribing. A lot of people, it was like, hey, thanks so much for signing up for my newsletter. Here's a freebie. Here's a little bit more information about me. Here's why you should, stick with me. And there was like a whole newsletter that was sent out after they subscribed, and I did not have that. So I input that into my marketing plan. So now that when you sign up for my newsletter, which you can do on my website, you will get a discount code to my shop and just a little bit more information about me. And I've also set up 2 additional newsletters to go out that are really, really fun. One of them is my dream cast for If Behind the Strings Was Ever Turned Into a Movie, which I can't wait for you to get that one and tell me what you think. And the other one is a quiz. Just a little bit more engagement and fun. And I'm also going to be starting a monthly giveaway on my newsletters, and I'm doing like a collab as well with a bunch of other authors. And I feel like I haven't put enough effort into that part of it. I think it's important, to keep writing, but especially now, I started my first book in 2013. When I would put it free on Amazon, I think it got like thousands of downloads. Now I put a book free on Amazon, and I think the last one got about 500. So there's so much more to the process than just writing a book and hitting the publish button. You have to do the work afterwards. So the newsletter is definitely one thing that I'm going to be focusing on going forward, especially knowing that I want to release 2 additional books. I don't want to have to go to this social media platform and this social media platform and this social media platform to find people that are interested in what I'm doing. If they sign up for your newsletter, they're interested in what you're doing. If they unsubscribe from your newsletter, they're not interested and you don't need them there anyways. If you are, working in a certain genre, or you just, you want to build your newsletter, that is 100% what I recommend. Go find people in your genre, even outside of your genre, but that are self-published authors, and sign up for their newsletters and just see what they're doing and see how creative they're getting and how they're engaging and the questions that they're asking, and because it's helped me a lot, and I think that already I've improved on that. Lastly, for today, I can't do everything all at once, all by myself, and continue to try and increase my sales and build revenue and make a career as an author, because there's just not enough hours in the day. I have made the decision to hire a promotions company and an assistant to assist with day-to-day activities that are useful and valuable, but that it's okay that I don't have my hands in, because that's going to allow me more time to focus on my Amazon ads and my writing and the book cover design and the title. And it's really nerve-wracking to take your baby and to take what you built and put it in someone else's hands. But I think at this point, it's become a necessity for me, and it needs to be done. So I'm really, really excited to do that and to take that next step, and to hopefully bring, everything to the next level, and build a team around me. Some of the things that they're going to be doing for me are those very time-consuming tasks that involve reaching out to bloggers and reviewers and sending art copies and advanced reader copies, if you're not familiar, to build my reviews on Amazon, because that's incredibly important. And they're going to be reaching out to other bloggers to do newsletter swaps and collaborations, because kind of building that list of people and finding those bloggers that are in your genre and that can really assist with promotions, it takes a lot of time, because there's so many of them out there, and weeding through the right ones, it's really time consuming. So I'm excited to have somebody with me that is familiar with that does that on a regular basis, that already has a group of people to really come in and step in and help me do that. I think it's going to be really great, and like I said, it's nerve-wracking. I've worked really hard on these last 4 novels. These 2 that I'm working on now, they're my babies, they're my heart and they're my soul. So to try and find somebody that is going to nurture and care for all of that in the same way, it's nerve-wracking, but I'm excited, and I'm still looking for the right fit. I've emailed a few people. I'm just kind of waiting to hear back from them and what they do and what they've done in the past, and hopefully I can have that set up in the next week or 2 and really get going, because my goal is to focus on the books I have out now, and then after I'm ready to start ramping up those promotions, and I have a release date for this London book, and we're just going to go 110%, 0 to 60, and getting the promotions out there prior to the launch of that novel, and just to see where it goes. So that is today's Coffee with Court. A little bit of an update, some very valuable lessons that I've learned that I hope that you can take away from this. Some of them I don't even know that they necessarily relate to just self-publishing. I mean, if you're an actor, I think it's really awesome to have a newsletter and to keep people updated on where you are and what you're doing. So I hope that if you're not an indie author, that you learned a little bit too, as far as the not taking on everything by yourself and trying to build yourself as a brand and really grow as a person, and build that community for you and that trust, and just excel in what you want to do with your life, and try and make a career out of something that you love. Yay. I love doing these videos. I love sharing my insight with you and just finding fun things to talk about. And I hope that you are enjoying them too. If you are, be sure to subscribe so that you don't ever miss an episode. And also don't forget to comment if there's anything that you want to hear, any advice that you need or tips or just like fun things that you want to chat about here on Coffee with Court. Like leave a comment, let me know, and I will try to figure out how to incorporate that in the weekly videos. So thanks again for tuning in. Enjoy some coffee, get ready for the week, and just remember, you are never too old to be what you might have been. I do not know who quotes that. It's not me, but it has always been one of my favorite quotes. It is never too late to live a life of passion, to be able to do what you love on a daily basis. You just have to put in the work, do the work, and the rewards will come. Happy Monday, guys. See you next week.